What is the scariest movie you ever watched? Guillermo del Toro's The Orphanage. Edit. I was corrected that he did not direct this. My bad. This woman moves into this house that used to be in an orphanage that she grew up in. Ends up seeing lots of ghosts and hearing things in the walls. Her son goes missing and greater than. She thinks the ghosts took her son, but what really happened is that he went into a crawl space and she accidentally locked him, and so he died there. At the end of the movie, she kills herself so she can be with her son and the other ghost kids. Less than. It was so fucking sad because theoretically it's something that could happen, and my anxiety caused me to spiral for months over it. I had nightmares daily about losing family members. The Descent. Horrible monsters mixed with darkness and claustrophobia makes a scary movie. White Noise wasn't scary when I watched it in a theater, but became very scary when my car stereo only picked up static the whole ride home. The Ring, when I was 9 or 10, that was scary. Arachnophobia, because I have arachnophobia. Sinister has always scared the shit out of me. It took me 2 tries to watch it. It's the only movie I've ever turned off from being so scared. The Grudge. I don't know why, but this fucking thing is so scary. I had to pause it. Never had this before. Even the worst splatter is nothing for me. But this will sound silly, but Ernest Scares Stupid really scared me when I was a little kid. The Thing. My first viewing was at night, and I was maybe 5 or 6. It scared me so bad I only watched subsequent viewings during the day until I matured a little more. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is still the most terrifying and horrifically uncomfortable film I've ever seen. There is virtually no blood in it, but the cinematography and atmosphere created are pure horror. The Road. No horror movie prior to that has ever kept me up at night, or made me think about, what if? Especially as a father. Although it's not necessarily a horror movie, Kids was traumatizing due to my age when it came out. It left me with a pit in my stomach that didn't subside for weeks. Poltergeist when I was a kid. Event Horizon. Or maybe Pandora. The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I kept waking up at 3 a.m. on the morning for weeks afterwards. Didn't help that I found and listened to the original tape-recorded material of her speaking fluidly in different languages while being exorcised. Threads, 1984. Alien. The original IT movie with Tim Curry. I watched it first when I was a kid. I am now 42 and still have nightmares. Misery. My knees were wobbling when I walked out of the theater. No more Stephen King for me. The Fourth Kind. So the one that got me was watching Watership Down as a kid. I know it's not really a scary movie, but traumatizing as a kid. The Shining. I am not a big fan of scary movies, and it was the first one I ever watched. Fucking terrified me. I got so freaked out toward the end I didn't even finish it. Pet Sematary. Original, not the remake. I was young at the time, and my dad used to bury our pets that died in the woods in our backyard, so that freaked me out for some time. Edit asterisk. Updated movie title. Not sure why I used cemetery, but my backyard definitely was one in this case. I really liked It Follows just because it was such a simple idea and required little to no special effects to be genuinely creepy. Hereditary is the only one to scare me as an adult. For me, there is only one immediate, horrifying and unsurpassed answer: Threads. I'm the kind of guy that never gets fazed by or attached to movies, so this makes Threads all the more special. I won't spoil much, but this is sort of a documentary-style British movie that portrays what might happen to Britain in the case of an all-out nuclear war in a visceral, disturbingly realistic way. I've watched The Day After a while before this one, and it doesn't even come close. There's no happy ending in Threads. There's no hope. No redemption, no light at the end of the tunnel, just a raw, uncensored depiction of what human stupidity might eventually lead us to. I've watched it in my late 20s and it still ended up seriously disturbing me. It was probably a month or more before it stopped popping into my mind every single day. Even now when I think about it, I can't help but suppress a little stir. Make no mistake, it is a fantastic film. It is a crucially important film I encourage everyone to watch, but the impact it had on me kinda makes me wish I never did so, even though I just might be a tiny bit more human for having done so. Not sure why, but The Orphan scared the shit out of me. And I'd seen a lot of horror movies at that point. Children of the Corn. But only because I was a kid and I lived on a corn farm. As an adult, The Conjuring. As a young lad, enter Sandman music video, The Flashing Light with the Old Man. Hell House LLC, As Above So Below, and Hereditary. Not a movie, but the Tales from the Crypt episode, Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone, gave me lifelong claustrophobia. Here it is if you have not seen it, https://www.youtube.com/watch_v=9kti-be2qk. The Exorcist. Director's Cut. Requiem for a Dream. Watch this. It may not be a typical horror movie, but it's as scary and real as it gets. Absolutely incredible movie, and it's haunted me to this day. If you have any life experiences with drugs and watching people suffer and cause suffering, it will trigger your PTSD. The Mothman Prophecies scared the shit out of me as a kid. It was such a well-made psychological horror film. I gotta rewatch it sometime soon. There was no real monster in it. It was more reflecting on the horrors of the mind and the specters of grief and trauma. Similar to Hereditary, in many ways, but that movie didn't scare me as much. I was 9, my father, dear old dad, snuck me into the theater to see A Clockwork Orange. Pissed the bed, woke up to my mom's terrified face, haven't read it, or seen it since. Maybe I should? Probably be good mojo. Technically TV, but if you count the whole thing as one 10-hour movie like I do, then, The Haunting of Hill House, on Netflix. Listen, I'm a guy who chases the high of a good horror movie scare like a junkie, and I'm almost always disappointed. Every time something new is called the scariest film of the last 2 decades, it usually barely moves the needle for me. The Haunting of Hill House made me sleep with a light on for 2 weeks after I finished it. Just saying. Strangers. Lights Out, the YouTube short. So well done. I still find my upstairs hallway eerie in the dark. The original Nightmare on Elm Street. Only because I was way too young to watch that, and it did a number on me at the time. The Blair Witch Project. Signs. The aliens terrify me. When I was 10, I had to go to the hospital for a very bad panic attack that made my arm numb and my face red from hyperventilating. The movie in question? Mystery Men. I have to say Paranormal Activity. I remember when we were in the theaters, people were crying by the end of it. They were so scared. I was scared too, not gonna lie. That movie was special.